So in an effort to try to keep these videos going, I guess I'll do kind of like a vlog style, what I work on day to day. And like I said in another video, every day I'm doing something with an Impala. So we got two Impalas we're working on today and a Chevy Cruze. The first one belongs to my boy Derek. Everybody has kind of like a love-hate relationship with this color. I love it. I think it looks dope. It's like that, I think it's called Destroyer Gray. I'm not sure. I think that's what it's called. But I like it. I like the hood. It's got that Trailblazer SS, Silverado SS style bumper. I put an engine in this car about a year ago. We got it from Ivan. It's got I'm pretty certain it's a stroker motor. I couldn't tell for sure without pulling the head and measuring the stroke on the piston and everything, but when I did the oil pan gasket on it, it had like scat rods, I think it had Icon pistons or some other type of name brand pistons, scat rods, had a cam in it, aftermarket roller rockers, you know, the whole nine. So it's either a stroker or a very well built motor, but it has a lot of power. I put it in about a year ago. The car was getting painted and the interior done and mounted up and everything. So now it's back. It's got a leak. Looks like it's coming from the rear main, which I changed before I put the motor in, but it's leaking pretty bad now. So I'm gonna tear it apart, pull the transmission out, and see if we can get that rectified. He wants to get it tuned. It definitely needs to be tuned because of the motor. It just doesn't run very well, which that's what makes me believe that it's got a cam and probably a stroker motor. We got this car here. Probably remember this one from my C6 Corvette brake video. This is the car. I never finished the series, but those are the brakes on there. We did the rear as well. Bigger rotors, whole nine. Stock wheels don't fit anymore. I built this car last summer. It's got a LQ4 huge cam in it, built for a lady from Performance Built up in Pennsylvania. 342 gears. I think it's got a True Track or Eaton Posi. So my plan was to just take it and get it tuned, dial it in, get everything running right. But I called my tuner like, hey, I'm about to bring this car to you. I've been waiting on him for a few weeks. He finally has room for it. Oh shit. Finally has room for it. Call him like, hey, can I bring this car? He's like, bring it. I was like, bet. I'm on the way. Getting ready to put it on the dyno. And I was okay, let me check the necessary things, you know, check the coolant, pull the dipstick. And what do we have here? A little mixage. I don't know if you can see that, but we got oil mixing with water. So looks like we're doing a head gasket. Come on, get in there. So gonna pull the heads, pull the oil pan, pull the heads, and fix the head gasket. Probably take the heads to my machine shop, have him check them, make sure they're not warped, no problems. So you're gonna take them, Andy, they're coming to you. 317 heads, you know. It's got BRP mounts on it, BRP headers, current performance harness. In my other video I mentioned I had two cars with current performance harness. This is the other car with the current performance harness, and my car has a current performance harness. It runs and drives now, just not very well. So follow me for the journey. I'm gonna start with this one. I actually hired somebody to help me with all these cars. Older gentleman, his name's Harry. He's an old shrimp boat captain. So lots of fun to have around. He should be getting here any second. I'm gonna have him start on this transmission while I work on that. And I'm also working on my boy Chris's daughter's Chevy Cruze. Today is like fix all my fuck ups day, I guess. Because this Cruze, I put a water pump in it about a month ago. It was leaking, and it called me and said it was leaking some more. Turned out to be the thermostat gasket right down here, and I changed that. It's no longer leaking. It's dry. But now we got this little situation right here, this little hose It's all bubbly and, you know, so I'm just waiting for it to cool down. I just took it on a mean test drive. So once it cools down, I'm gonna pull this hose off. Probably run the AutoZone and just see if I can find one that matches. I don't think I need to get the GM part number 55, you know. But if I do, I'll go get it, because it looks like it goes to a metal tube here that goes underneath and comes out into the thermostat. So it's still a little hot. So once it cools down, in the midst of me pulling the transmission and doing a head gasket, I'm gonna change this hose and try to get this car back to his daughter. But yeah, that's it. This should only take a few minutes. I'm gonna give it another hour or so to cool down all the way. I don't like being burned, and we'll come back to it. All right, so yesterday was crazy. I didn't get a chance to really film anything. Had 3 cars I was working on. I had 3 cars. I had some personal stuff I had to handle throughout the day, so I was in and out. I wasn't here a lot of the time. I did get a lot of work done. Harry came over. We got the transmission dropped out of here. So that's about done. Just got to get the rear main in and transmission pan gasket, oil pan gasket, seal up all those leaks, and then this car is going to the dyno. The LS car with the head gasket issue, got that pretty much ripped apart. Heads are off. I was actually in the process of putting the lifters back in until I got to this last side and realized I was short one lifter. So I think what may have happened is I forgot one and it dropped in the oil pan. I was going to drop the oil pan anyway, because with the head gasket, the oil and the water was mixing, so I wanted to clean that out real well. So I was going to pull the oil pan anyway, so no biggie. I just wanted to get everything else together, lift the engine up, pull the oil pan, because I've never tried to pull the oil pan in an LS swapped Impala with BRP mounts. So I may have enough clearance. It looks like I would, but you never know with these things. So got it torn down. It doesn't look terrible. This side the driver's side was leaking more than the passenger side. I mean, these cylinders were completely filled with water, so I think just a bad head gasket, really. So I already got some of the bolts loose to lift the motor up to pull the pan. I gotta run some errands today, and then we'll jump back on this later. In the meanwhile, I never really find the time to work on my own car, but for whatever reason this morning I felt a little motivated. There were a couple things on my car that have been bothering me since I had the LT1 in there, and one thing was the seal on the steering gearbox. Now, originally when the car had the LT1, it sprung a leak. So I mean, when I would turn, you could just see the drips. It was just a trail of drips of power steering fluid, and pump was making a bunch of noise. So I watched a video on YouTube. I changed the seal. It was good for about 2-3 weeks. Then it started leaking again. So then I got a new to me but used gearbox out of one of my boys' cars. He totaled his car, so I got the gearbox out of his car. I swapped it into my car. It was good. A couple months, same problem again. Started leaking and making the power steering pump chirp, like chirp, 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 and it's so irritating. So today, I just ripped it out, and I thought about, I could film it. So I ripped the gearbox out today, and even when I did the LS swap, I was like, man, I can't wait to put this LS in here, so I have to deal with that chirping power steering pump. This did the same thing, chirp like crazy. So I got another new to me but used gearbox. You think I'd learn my lesson by now? Oh, shit. I think I'd learn my lesson by now and just buy a Borg One or a Borgeson or whoever, whatever gearbox. But I don't know, maybe I like making things harder for myself. So anyway, got that ripped out. I got the lines draining now. I'm gonna pour some fluid in here, start it back up once I get the alternator back on, and let it pump out some of that old fluid, get some fresh fluid in there. Another thing was my alternator belt. Well, not the alternator belt, the alternator bracket. So I have all F body brackets on my 6-liter. So it pushes the alternator forward. So what happens is I've been shredding belts like crazy. So see, it's just been shredding these belts. So I got these spacers on here. So the way the bracket works is, oh, my nose is running. It goes in like this, right? You have the alternator sits here, and try this one hand, and then the spacer goes here between the block and the alternator mounting hole, and it bolts to the block. So what I need to do is either shave this this thing down a little bit so it moves it back, or I got these other spacers here, these little smaller ones, and I may be able to just toss a couple on here with some washers until I get the right, you know, front to backness. So, you know, I started it, but because I don't really get a lot of time and motivation to work on it, it'll probably stay like this for, I don't know, a month or so before I put it back together. Because I still got to do this. I got to get all this tied up, because this was something that was been bothering me since I did the swap, and I just been enjoying the car, and I really haven't had a chance to go in and fix that. So eventually I'll get that all tied up. I'm gonna order I should have the bracket for my AC here in a few days. I know it's like cold as hell out here and I really don't need AC, but figure I'd get it done. So AC bracket's coming. I have a Sandin 7176 going in there. It's back here. I sold the other one I had, the other Sandin, so this is the one that I got here. So a little tiny compressor. Talked to a few people who run it, and they say it works really good. And what it does, it just pulls the compressor closer to the engine, because with the other compressor that I had, I couldn't even fit the accumulator. Wouldn't even fit, because the compressor was so big it was hitting the back of the compressor. The accumulator was hitting the back of the compressor. So went with a smaller one. It's gonna tuck it in, and I'm actually gonna put my coolant overflow bottle back in. I haven't been running one. I haven't had zero heating and cooling issues. The hoses collapse because there's no vent. So I gotta, you know, vent it every once in a while, but it doesn't hurt anything as far as I can see. I have had zero issues with overheating on this car, so we'll just, you know, I'm just gonna toss it in there, paint it black, toss it back in there. My boy Corey said I need a smaller air cleaner because my air cleaner over there is freaking huge. It covers up everything. So as I get going on this, I will post some more updates. So we had to take a little trip down to the city, catch up with these guys. The infamous.
Hey, he didn't catch me last time.
I know.
We did all that. He didn't even catch me.
I was, you know, I was starstruck. You know, famous YouTuber at my house. You know, King Bray out here. So I had to pull up, bring him some goodies, catch him doing what he do. It's the famous dually right here. This man brought me to the smallest street, most congested street we could find in Atlanta. Ooh, what? What you did to it? You did something else to it? Clean. And you got the same problem. I got two 2002. My cat, I got the same switch won't stay on. Yeah. My Denali do the same thing. Oh, your driver's side good though. Yeah, both of my trucks do the exact same thing. This thing will not stay on. Cat eye problems.
All day. Yes, sir.